So, good morning. Welcome to my presentation. This is my entrepreneurial leadership plan for the entrepreneurial leadership class taught by Professor Opus. My name is Ariana Schurig, and I'm very pleased to be giving my presentation on a sustainable packaging solutions business, which I decided to call EcoPack Solutions. And without further ado, let's get right into the presentation. So just to start off, what is EcoPack Solutions? What is their purpose? EcoPack Solutions, like I said, is a sustainable packaging solutions company, which means that they seek to provide environmentally friendly packaging options to clients in the shipping and in the food industries. And particularly so in North America, focused in North America. And they do this by focusing on material selection, product design and innovation, packaging optimization, and supply chain management in order to have a competitive and sustainable product for their clients. All right, so here are three key characteristics for effective leadership that I think are particularly important for someone leading that kind of organization, a sustainable packaging organization company. The first and foremost being, of course, passion, a passion for sustainability. And I think demonstrating genuine passion really inspires and motivates your team to work towards a shared vision. And it also shows your commitment to, so my commitment to sustainability. And ways that I would engage in sustainable practices within the workplace are some as simple as reducing waste, recycling actively, and also using eco-friendly materials in our workspaces anyway. So quite simple ways to apply that. The second characteristic is being adaptable and being a continuous learner. I think this is so important that you demonstrate commitment to continuous learning and embracing change, and encouraging my team to do the same because it really inspires innovation. And I will do this by staying up to date on the latest trends and innovations and research related to sustainable packaging personally, and also educating my team on those topics as well. So allocating time and resources for professional development, for attending conferences, industry workshops, online courses related to this, to encourage my team members also to share what they learn, share their insights with the rest of the team that they receive from these types of events. And then the third being effective communication and transparency. Your communication at the beginning of a startup will set the tone for how things are communicated for the rest of the business's successful life. So it's very important that you are open and transparent and are able to clearly communicate through clear channels of communication the goals, the company's mission, vision, and values, so that you can align your expectations from the upper management all the way down to those, the employees working on the ground, and that everyone is on the same page. Next, we come to potential startup obstacles for EcoPack, things that I expect could be an issues. The first being market competition. One of the major risks in entering this market is the presence of already established competitors. It is very competitive. It's exploded, this industry, in the past 10-15 years. And it's constantly evolving. The second is supply chain issues. Unfortunately, because supply chain packaging relies so much on the availability of eco-friendly material and responsible sourcing practices, it's sometimes difficult to ensure consistent and reliable supply chain or suppliers for these materials, just because you have less options. And then, of course, last is regulatory and compliance challenges. The field of sustainable packaging is subject to evolving regulations and standards, so you really have to stay on top of that. Otherwise, it could mean legal repercussions. So then how will I respond to these issues, and how will I demonstrate my leadership skills in responding to these issues? The first, so in responding to market competition, the competitive market, I would definitely, first and foremost, lead comprehensive market analysis, make sure that we really have a culture of excellence and of, research, scientific research, statistics to back things up, to back our decisions up. And then based on the market analysis, I would set measurable, realistic company goals. And by that, cultivate a goal-oriented work culture. We're goal and success-oriented. And then thirdly, I would foster innovation by, being enthusiastic and collaborative and implementing regular brainstorming sessions where the team members can contribute their ideas and their insights so that we stay ahead of the competition. For supply chain issues, to address that, first and foremost, establishing strong relationships with the suppliers, and conducting due diligence on all of the sustainable practices, creating long-term partnerships based on shared values, and of course diversifying the supply chain to mitigate the risk associated with material shortages or disruptions. And I think these actions, in making these hard decisions, sometimes I'll show my team members that I do value sustainability and transparency very highly, and that I believe in nurturing both interpersonal relationships and also business relationships. And then to address the issues of regulatory and compliance requirements, I would demonstrate my commitment and skills as a leader by actively staying informed about regulatory changes, and ensuring the company's practices that they align with, the latest requirements. And then I would also show how willing I am to collaborate by, either delegating work to team members or legal experts or consultants with more expertise in a particular field than I have, or by asking them, approaching them for advice for their expertise. And also, I would show my commitment to transparency and accountability by establishing a strong internal compliance system. So to train employees on regulatory compliance, to show them, okay, this is the proper way to do things, that we do follow the rules and we're very conscious of what is currently, what the requirements are. Okay, so now we come to three business strategies that I have selected that I think are particularly valuable for the success and sustainability of EcoPacks, and their correlating leadership strategies. So how the leadership strategy will help us execute these business strategies. The first business strategy being diversifying our product offerings. So that means that first we identify the market opportunities. So we do market research to figure out, okay, what client bases are not being served, where are there holes in the market, and then developing from that market research, developing new lines of new products that serve those potential customers, those potential clients. The second being expanding into new geographical markets. So after 2 years, I would have the goal, okay, to look at expansion opportunities into Europe, because it has a similar culture surrounding sustainability, particularly in the food and shipping industries. And then third is strengthening the brand image as a sustainable company and as a global thought leader in the field of sustainable packaging. So then how am I, going to do this? How am I going to, with my leadership skills, how am I going to help us execute this? As a leader, I will foster a culture of innovation within my organization, and do this by making sure that my team can explore new ideas because they have the necessary support and resources and also incentives to, bring new ideas and to try new things. Second is that I will set clear goals for expansion. So, if we want to expand into new geographical markets, then I need to set clear goals and expectations and really foster collaboration and knowledge sharing between the divisions to make that as easy as possible and to build the most, strong and effective entry strategy. Then third is, to strengthen brand image. The employees are the brand. And so I really want to have the employees contribute directly to the company brand by contributing to the discourse on our website, as well as the industry awareness and nonprofit events. So it's not just upper management who is, attending these kinds of events, but also the lower management and the ground workers who are really working on the sustainability projects. So now we come to steps for prioritizing resource allocation in the face of financial constraints. Of course, not everything runs perfectly when you start a startup. And if you have financial constraints, there are some things that I definitely have planned that we could do. to mitigate the stresses of that. The first being, if it really comes down to money and capital, then prioritizing sustainable food packaging over shipping packaging and getting rid of the shipping packaging part of our business and really only focusing, because that's, as it says here, it significantly reduces the number of areas we need to invest in order to have the expertise and the technology and the market foothold to be competitive. So it really reduces the costs, even though it also reduces the numbers of clients that we can have. And then second would be to look for opportunities to reduce costs without compromising on our quality or sustainability. And we can, consider alternative suppliers, but also a good thing would be to maybe sacrifice some supply chain diversity that we mentioned in the previous slide to negotiate then favorable terms with suppliers when you buy more of something. And of course is to explore shared resources or co-working spaces, so mitigating costs in that way. Also remote working might be a possibility. Then third is to create a resource allocation plan, so that it's very clear to all of the members in the company, okay, it's important that we prioritize resources to maximize the impact on the business in the long run, and ensuring that the long-term business objectives and the sustainability goals are addressed. Okay, so how can I motivate my team in the face of financial constraints? We just talked about how we can address the financial constraints themselves, but how do I motivate my employees? I think it comes down to just a few things, but first and foremost, transparent communication. It's so important that you share the situation with your employees and that they know what's going on. I think also that you demonstrate that their perspectives are valuable, their contributions are valuable, by encouraging them to offer suggestions and tips on how we can address the financial constraints. I think second is involve your team, motivate them by involving them. So foster a culture of ownership and empowerment by involving them in the decision-making process, when that is appropriate, and clearly expressing that their contributions are worthwhile. Third is recognizing and appreciating effort. It may be a stressful situation that we're in right now, but even the small things, even the small victories, I appreciate in my employees and tell them that. And then fourth, I think is something that's often overlooked, is offering flexible work arrangements. Maybe people will, employees will actually be able to work harder and more effectively when they have a little bit more say in when and how they work, whether that be remote work, working different hours, having different days off, things like that. So now we come to 3 innovative initiatives to enhance the customer experience for our clients. 3 that I picked out. The first being a customized packaging design, so that we take, the design and then we personalize it based on the brand's identity or on their product requirements and make it something unique. The second being a sustainable packaging consultation, so that we actually consult with the client on what their requirements are, what their current packaging so procedures are, what their packaging choices are, and then how we can use sustainable materials and design optimizations and waste reduction strategies to then achieve their environmental and sustainability goals. And then the third, and the one that I'm the most excited about, is packaging sustainability reports, so that we actually, so it includes things like the carbon footprint and waste reduction and recyclability rate, so that we can actually regularly share reports with the clients that demonstrate the positive environmental impact that their packaging decisions are having. So what will be the contribution of my leadership style to implementing these three initiatives that I talked about? First and foremost, again, driving innovation, inspiring my team to think outside of the box and to really use collaboration with each other to generate ideas that are tailored to the client. The second is building strong client relationships. Actively listening and showing my employees that I actively listen teaches them then to actively listen to the client's needs and wishes. And also a hands-on approach is much more personal, and it fosters long-term loyalty. And of course, I want to foster long-term loyalty in my clients and absolutely in my employees. And then, of course, visionary leadership. So really showing enthusiasm and passion to inspire my team to align their ideas with my vision and create value in the resources and programs that we make for our clients. So the very last topic before discussion before we wrap up the presentation is discussing potential ethical dilemmas. And one ethical dilemma that is very likely to that we're likely to be confronted with is the question, okay, do we participate in popular sustainability trends that could make us a lot of money, but that aren't necessarily sustainable as sustainable as advertised and don't meet EcoPack's sustainability standards, or similarly, if a potential client approaches us with a really great, contract, but it would require us to use materials that are not up to our sustainability standards. Just to contextualize that, for example, wax paper and aluminum foil are technically recyclable, but they require specialized recycling facilities, and not all countries and regions have these. So we might have to tell a client, you need or want to use this type of material, but in the region that you want to use it, it will likely not end up recycled. It will end up in a landfill, and we would have to reject such contracts. So really quick, what would be then our guiding principles and values when we're met with such dilemmas? How do we react? How do we evaluate it? And the first is we want to use environmental stewardship, a principle of environmental stewardship, demonstrating commitment to protecting the environment, minimizing the ecological footprint of our operations, of course. Second being social responsibility, that we recognize the impact of our business decisions on the various stakeholders, so employees and the communities and the future generations. Third being transparency, ensuring that we have open and honest communication with all the stakeholders, including the client, but also our employees, also the people who are affected in the world by our business practices. And last but not least, long-term perspective, that we make sure that we're focusing on sustainable solutions that prioritize long-term benefits over just short-term financial gains. So then what would be my response to this? We just talked about, the principles and values that we would use to evaluate the dilemma. First, I would gather all the relevant information pertaining to, the materials, the environmental impact, the client's wishes, any alternative solutions, etc., etc. Or, create a team whose job it is to research and find those things out. And then I would evaluate the situation, and then we would engage, in productive, constructive dialogue with the client, and, propose alternative materials or packaging designs that are both environmentally friendly and meet the client's needs if it turns out that, what they originally wanted is not, in fact, up to our standards. Unfortunately, if the client, remains resistant to eco-friendly alternatives, I would have a really difficult decision, but I would, in that case, I would prioritize long-term interests of the business and the environment over the short-term financial gains, and I would respectfully decline the project, and then explain that our decision is based on commitment to sustainability, and to negating the impact of, such a proposed material on the environment. And then, of course, it's important to mention how I would communicate this to my employees and the stakeholders. Of course, during the whole time, internally, we would be having meetings, discussing the situation, discussing, outlining the ethical dilemma that we're facing, and we would emphasize the values and the principles that are guiding our decision. And always, of course, highlighting our commitment to stewardship, environmental stewardship, and long-term sustainability. Externally, if it was significant enough to make, waves, then I would have craft some sort of statement backing up our decision, why we decided to decline the project, and it would be something along the lines of, emphasizing our dedication to ethical business practices and our commitment to sustainability, and of course, our willingness to work with clients who share our values, as always. And with that, we come to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for watching, for listening. I hope that you learned something, that you enjoyed it. I had a great semester. It was awesome. And I also really enjoyed your class last semester. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. Yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your day.